look at your life. You have done incredible, amazing things. And if you just change your mind to start realizing that, you can start seeing yourself as this and be like, hey, maybe all the hard things that happened is exactly what led me to here. And so when I'm dealing with hard stuff today, this is part of that evolution as well. By the way, people who are on a constant diet and they can't, and they're always frustrated about this, they are the ones that need this work the most. I firmly believe that every human being is capable and able and worthy and deserving of having absolutely everything that they want, and that they can when they know these tools, when they have these practices, when they have the focus, when they have the emotional mastery tools, and when they have that accountability and that support. Food and weight obsession can be exhausting. Losing weight, gaining weight, dieting, feeling like a failure because you missed a workout, binged, overate, or gained all the weight back. The cycle is endless and it can be maddening. But I'm here to say you can stop the mental madness. You can take back control of your food behaviors, but you have to face your fears, you have to ask for help, and make a change. I am Leslie M. Thornton, permanent weight loss coach from hpwl.co. This is Hypnosis for Permanent Weight Loss, and I know you can make this happen. On this podcast, you will hear how to stop the mental madness, love your body, trust your food decisions so you can create a life of happiness, freedom, and inner peace. Hey there. Leslie M. Thornton, Hypnosis for Permanent Weight Loss. Here to talk to you today about positivity during the storm. I actually had a friend of mine that just suggested that I did this topic, not knowing that in the past few days, some of our coaching clients and even some parts of our team had been, as they're working towards their goal, having to face the difficulties along the way. So many times what happens is we'll be going after something, everything will be feeling fine, and we'll make these decisions, right? We might go out there, we might swing out, and we might actually say, I'm going to take that job, or I'm going to end that relationship, or I'm going to start that relationship, or I'm going to start the Hypnosis for Permanent Weight Loss program, right? Like just we throw our hats over the wall, we make that big decision, and then the next thing that immediately can start happening right after you make that big decision are tons of breakdowns. And I don't mean to laugh because it's not funny when you're in them. It's not funny at all. And from an outside perspective, just seeing that it happens every single time. We as human beings, when we decide to throw our hat over the wall, take a chance, take a leap of faith, go after what it is that we want, even though it's scary, right? It may have taken us years to build up to the point of being brave enough to actually say, I'm actually going to get help with this, or I'm actually going to, end that relationship, or pay this money to get out of this food prison place, whatever that looks like to you. And every single time the universe gives you those tests of being like, how sure are you? Well, now things are going to fall apart. And I firmly believe, after guiding so many clients through the program, that there is a part of us that knows deep down when we are entering a phase or a chapter in our lives when we can't do it alone. You, at some point in your life, have done something, and you don't know that it's actually happening, that you're making that decision that's going to allow for these other things to start falling in place. It's law of attraction. It's just what happens. It's just the way that energy moves. So for an example, you may actually commit to taking care of yourself, and you may actually say, this Saturday, I don't care what anybody's doing, I'm going to take myself for a spa day. And it's like the most foreign territory you can imagine for yourself, to take that time for you. I'm going to step away from work. I'm not going to answer my phone. And literally Friday afternoon at 3 p.m., a disaster happens. and you now have to work on Saturday and everything's falling apart. And then you get to wake up on Saturday and say, see, I told you so. My life is too crazy. It's too hectic. I can't make it happen. Right? That's scenario number one. You wake up one day and you really say to yourself, I know for a fact that I'm not happy in this relationship. We fight all the time. All of these, disagreements keep coming up over and over again. And despite all the things that we've worked on together and everything that we've done, we always end up here. And at the end of the day, you have that little voice inside yourself that says, I'm not happy here. It's like, I don't know necessarily that there is anything better, which is the reason that we stay. And we're like, oh my gosh, but I can't imagine taking care of all the responsibilities that I'm taking care of without that person in our lives anymore, in your life anymore. And it's part of what we have to go through to say yes to that more in aligned version of yourself or version of your life that it is that you really want to have happen. So this can be expected. I want to give you today a little bit of peace of mind and just the awareness of the fact that this happens. This happens all the time. And when we change our perspective and our mindset for how is this happening for me? When we really increase that dial of faith and say, wow, right? My dog died, right? My dog died. And that was the worst case scenario thing that could ever happen to me because I am so close with my dog. And what is that dog? What did that event offer you? Why is now the perfect time for you to receive that event, as tragic and as sad as it is? So as we're going through life, breakdowns happen, emotions happen, upsets happen, horrible disagreements happen, worse things, traumas, really, things that society would say is really bad things can happen. And the more that we actually lean into that time, first of all, getting that support for going through that time, but actually look at how is this happening for me and start, then it expands your mind to start being able to see all the little breadcrumbs that life is leaving for you to become more aware of something happening in your life right now. So for an example, right, I just really got to see there was events that happened in my business, big shifts happening, right, that caused me to have, big, like kind of caterpillar contractions inside my body, right? And just like, ooh, and it was painful and I hated it, and definitely shedding tears or frustrations, tons of conversations, just like in it, right? And this is going on for days and days, days and days and days and days, and just bearing through the storm, right? I even remember, in limbo between relationships, like in one relationship that really was not meeting my criteria for a relationship, just was not fulfilling, not satisfying, not in the way that I really wanted it to be, right? And so making that choice, but it's like taking that leap away from that and then saying like, and I want to have something different. I know that there's something better, but the pain that comes along with that, right? Of like feeling alone, questioning my decision, going back, what's happening, all the things, right? Just can bend around each other and just make things super, right? Just we've all been there. I want you to look at yourself in your life for a time that you said yes to you, or you made some kind of big major life decision and all of a sudden your bank account goes down to zero or you overdraw your account. It's just the universe again saying like, how serious are you about continuing to go? So during those times, what I really recommend, number one, staying focused on what it is that you are on your way to manifesting, creating, getting in your life, right? So for you, it may be just more general, like more freedom, or it could be to end a relationship once and for all. It could be to increase your bank account and get out of debt once and for all. It could be really learning how to love and accept your body and get past your food craziness once and for all, right? Just being so clear and so honest with yourself around exactly what it is that you're up to right now, right? And being authentic about what that desire is for you. If you're just going around saying that you want to lose weight, but you authentically really want to be happy in a relationship, like that's really what your heart is saying, right? Or if you say that you really want to be successful at your career, but really you don't really care about that. You just want to be at home and raise a family one day, right? Like that level of honesty with yourself from a place of empowerment, right? That will carry you through. That will make your journey that much easier so that as the hard stuff is coming up, when you're walking that line towards a thing, there's been a big shift in our mastermind. We're just rolling out today on we're showing our clients through the steps of actual law of attraction and manifestation, and the fact that we're all creators of our own life, and that we actually, there is a formula, there is an expectation of what you can expect to see along the way of you becoming and getting what it is that you authentically desire. So that, again, the same as this title of this podcast, that positivity can hang in there. Okay. And I want that for you if you want that. So, number one, stay focused on where you are headed. So, on the hardest and worst of days, you can at least go back to those things that your major focus is on. May just be one thing, up to three things, no more than that. Right. So that when you're in the eye of the storm, or when you're not in the eye of the storm, you're in the storm of the storm, it's at least something that can kind of like be your guiding light through it. Number two is make sure that you have some kind of different way of coping with emotions as you're on your way to getting towards what you want. And by the way, with your, having clarity, because some of you are stuck at just step number one with like, I don't know what my authentic desires are. I don't know what my focus is, right? And that's okay. And getting coaching, getting some kind of support so that you get that answer, right? You find out where you're blocked about being able to have clarity. I talk to people all the time and they get blocked around clarity, right? And their block is usually the not having clarity is usually the block. It's like there's just a part of them that's too scared to actually say what they want, and it's all subconscious. So get that support is always step number one, right? So having those goals, those authentic desires. Number two, having a different way to deal with emotions, because you can expect emotions as a human being, especially one that is up to something. A human being that wants to get out of food prison, a human being that wants to be in the most amazing, loving relationship, a human being that wants to have a fulfilling career and a beautifully functioning family. If you want that, then you can expect pain. Why? Because there's so much inner work and development that we need to do. There's so much cobweb clearing and just yuckiness clearing from past wounds, traumas, like negative things that we say about ourselves. And by the way, people who are on a constant diet and they can't, and they're always frustrated about this, they are the ones that need this work the most, right? That's why I'm talking to you. That's why we work on this stuff, is because it's just your negative thinking and mindset that's getting in your way of having it all. That's it. That's it. You are totally capable. You are a totally able human being. You can have absolutely anything that you want. Trust me, I used to be, as a teenager, I was like super emo, which means stands for like emotional, and had headphones on at all the family events, like barely smiled, like hands, arms folded. Would you ever guess that about me? Right? I was like, and like not in the mood, not that, I wore like, the emo pants and like the black and pink nail polish and like the bicycle chain, whatever. I mean, I was friendly and nice, and I came from a Catholic school or whatever. But, especially when it came to being around family, I was not into it at all. Just like, leave me alone. Like just not at all. I remember one time I was looking at the sky with my mom was looking at the sky, and she said, "Wow, there's not one cloud in the sky." And I said, "There's one." And my mom's response was, "You're the only cloud in my sky, Les." And it wasn't a horrible statement to make. I deserved it. because I was always that pessimist that was like looking at the not bright side. Right. And then I went for a time where I was only looking at the bright side, where I was like, everything's great. I love everything, like life. But that was inauthentic as well. Right. Because in reality, life has ebbs and flows. I'm not super happy all the time and I'm not miserable all the time. I'm somewhere right in the middle. I'm right. But it took a while for me to get here. Okay. I had to get support. I had to get focused. I had to get emotional mastery skills that wasn't just therapy. It was actually going into the body and like becoming aware and healing things. I had to heal my family relationships, right? I had to do a lot of the stuff that's necessary and required. I was just talking to my clients yesterday about how we can't predict the path of when all of the weight is going to come off for you in this journey. Why? Because everyone comes on it with a different bag of baggage. Everyone comes in with different authentic desires at different times. Okay, for some person, they might have enough spaciousness in their schedule where like an authentic desire is like actually their health and taking walks every morning that are luxurious and spacious and whatever. And for somebody else, they may have kids at home, they're young, they're playing around, they may have a full-time job on top of that, they may have a big boom in their business, right? Like, and they might have aging parents that aren't doing well. There's just so many different things that when it comes to stress management, when it comes to how to deal with the day to day, your focus, because you have to deal with like what is front and center. And sometimes health and being perfect with your food can't be front and center. It's just not realistic. And when we pretend that it should be, that's when the stress level goes 100 times higher. And that's when we end up binging, fast fooding, like all this other crazy stuff that makes it worse. Right. So having that focus, having that emotional support that's in a different kind of way. And the last thing is having that community that gets it. Having those other people in your life that they can say, hey, and hold you accountable, like, hey, no, we're not going to go here. Or, hey, okay, I'll give you 10 minutes to whine and cry and be sad, or, to support you in finding that tool. But I'm not going to go all the way down this rabbit hole with you anymore. Right? From a place of love, from a place of seeing you in your bigness. Right? I firmly believe that every human being is capable and able and worthy and deserving of having absolutely everything that they want, and that they can when they know these tools, when they have these practices, when they have the focus, when they have the emotional mastery tools, and when they have that accountability and that support. Right? The 5 people you hang out with the most is who you get. Recently, I had a client who she was talking about how her mom actually used to always be the go-to person, but she would actually engage with her as being broken. She bought into her own story about the fact that she had such bad anxiety and such bad depression and such things like that, that she had no other option than to go down that rabbit hole and get on medications and all that kind of stuff, and realizing that's not good for me anymore. Because I could stay with mom, who every time that I'm upset talks to me about getting medications, or I could stay with this accountability and this support system that says, hey, here's how we can help you process through this grief, pain, emotion in 10 minutes, and how we can support you in taking action past and out of that, so that tomorrow you feel A plus again without adding all these drugs and stuff to your body that is going to lead to more weight stuff and health stuff and all the other stuff down the road. This is needing to know how to handle it and take the best ultimate care of yourself from people who don't see you as a victim anymore. Because you're not that. You're just not that. Yes, the things have happened to you in the past. Yes, you're going things right now. And where are you headed? What other amazing things have you created in your life? I remember I had a coach, she had to have me do a brag book because I was still down on myself. I had been traveling all over the world. I had been doing all these amazing things and started my coaching business and all this stuff, left nursing, all these major life accomplishments. And I couldn't see any of it. I only saw myself as a failure, not good enough. Why can't I make this happen? right? And so one of the things that I have my clients do because of that is start a success journal. Like, look at your life. You have done incredible, amazing things. And if you just change your mind to start realizing that, you can start seeing yourself as this and be like, hey, maybe all the hard things that happened is exactly what led me to here. And so when I'm dealing with hard stuff today, this is part of that evolution as well. Right. And so less about the name of the game being about positivity, right? Even happiness, positivity, that's what we want. And these are the three things that I would recommend for how you can make that happen. Right. And knowing that the goal is really just around having this okayness with the ebbs and flows of life and that faith and that trust. And because of that faith and because of that trust, then we can have that positive kind of flair added in, right? I could be crying my eyes out and still have awareness of being like, yes, 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 this is emotion. This is what's going through me. Not sure what this is about, or have all of these thoughts, but doesn't have to mean anything. Right. But when we engage with our thoughts as if that they're real and that they mean stuff, then that's when we can get really negative and start thinking my life is always falling apart. I can never get it. And then I remember when I had depression and when I was, 14, but like realizing that, I had an uncle who was a social worker who said, Leslie, do you realize that happiness is a choice? Right. Like the way that you choose to see your life is a choice. Right. You could either see your life as I had this traumatic, horrible thing happen, and therefore I can't get anywhere in life and I can't move and nothing that I do works. Or you can have the perspective of I am unstoppable. I always go after what I want. I learn from my mistakes. I do the best I can every day. I have amazing connections and, interests and hobbies and things like that, or amazing family or whatever you have, and focus on that. And that's what will grow. And guess what? When we focus on that part of you and how awesome that you are, that's when amazing things can keep coming in. But only you can create that foundation and that mindset for you. You have to want it. But I will say that regardless of what choice that you make, and I support you no matter what, that the path of having that faith and seeing that second story and things that are looking up feels way easier and more positive than any other way that I've taken before. If you are serious about taking action on your struggle with food, body, and weight, then this is for you. Go ahead and text the word hypnosis to 855-BE-ALIVE. That's 855-232-5483. Immediately after texting that number, you will get access to our free training that will tell you why you can't figure the food, body, and weight thing out, why you can't keep weight off even after you've been successful in the past, and how to actually overcome it, including a mini hypnosis session at the end. Don't miss out. Text the word hypnosis to 855-BE-ALIVE. That's 855-232-5483.